What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Puck Rock Rangers, episode 21. I'm Stefan. Joined by me, as always, is my co host Palmer. And we got a little bit to talk about today, so let's get into it. Alrighty, everybody. As you know, before we get into the hockey stuff, we give you little updates on the juicy stuff in our personal lives. Would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll spill the tea. So just living life. Can't complain. Nice weather lately. It's raining right now, but we won't dwell on that. Good spring weather. Wife and I have been planting some things. I have some peppers planted. All last summer, I was making salsa with either some peppers I would buy, and then some peppers my sister-in-law would hook me up with. So I'm trying to do it all my own this year. Had a good practice with hard facts. That does not happen very often. We made a pact that it would happen again this week. So look out. It was my wife's birthday weekend, so we did a couple things. Knocked out another state park. We're on the trail quest. I think you have to get like 30 or 40 parks. We're getting close to that. And we've been running with a soccer ball recently, which has been kind of fun to do in the neighborhood. And we're 1 for 1, or we're 1-1. We've both fallen once. So neither one of us are too dinged up, too banged up. I think we're good to go. And what's going on in your world?
Not a whole lot. Life is good. Work is good. I've been real busy this last month. I got another real busy month coming up. Been doing some real cool tattoos. Um, I just want to brag on Palmer real quick. He posted a picture of his greenhouse that you guys have been hearing about. It's pretty sweet. It's a pretty sick greenhouse. Looks like they cleaned it up real nice, and I was glad to see that. It looked pretty cool. Um, Nothing juicy. Sorry to let you guys
Mm.
down, but yeah, been watching a lot of hockey and hanging out with the kids, and the weather's been beautiful, so you can't beat that. And yeah, nothing too crazy. Just been living.
Nice. Before we get into Rangers stuff, shout out to a podcast called Hard Lore. And for the punk rock and hardcore fans, it's a podcast focused on like different hardcore figures. And I've watched their shorts. I've followed them on Instagram, but admittedly, today was the first time I've listened to a full episode, and it had the singer and really the brains behind Integrity. Great band, really has become kind of one of my favorites in the last 5-6 years. They've been around forever, so if you get a chance to check out Integrity, check out Hard Lore. Really funny, really informative guys, and a really good podcast. So just wanted to plug them and put that out there. Really enjoyed that episode and look forward to checking out more. But let's get into it. The Rangers have played some games with our emotions, with our hearts, and also with hockey sticks.
What did we need them to do
We
with those
needed,
last 3 games?
we really needed 4 points. In a perfect world, you'd get 6, but nothing has been perfect about this. They ended up with 3 points. Part of you wants to take the 3 and go, but not the way this season has gone.
Mm-mm.
And we'll get into it. So they started off the road trip when we last spoke. I think it was the next day, actually. They played the LA Kings in Los Angeles. There was a JT Miller goal that was not caught right away, but upon review, the puck did cross. And aside from that, that's kind of where it ends with the positives for the Rangers. It was pretty dead after kind of a snooze fest. The Kings did what they needed to. What are your thoughts on that game?
I mean, we beat the worst team in the league, and that's all we did. We beat the San Jose Sharks. I mean, the eye test showed that it should have been a way closer game than it was. But Georgiev's terrible. He is just not it. And the Sharks with their young roster, they maybe would be able to squeeze some games, a little bit more games. They'd probably be able to win a few more games if they had, even mediocre goaltending. But their goaltending has just been horrendous. And had they had even just okay goaltending, who knows if the Rangers could have even beat them. But yeah, the Kings they took care of business. Anaheim definitely that was that was gut wrenching. You have a 2 goal lead with 5 minutes left in the game, and then you just blow it to a team that's not even going to make the playoffs. the Ducks had to feel good about that one, and the Rangers had to feel terrible afterwards as well. But I'm not moved. My needle has not moved at all towards this team, even though we beat the Sharks 6-1. It was the Sharks. They have not even won 25 games this season. So
I have some notes on the Anaheim game, and one thing I thought was pretty telling, and it's probably the most honest thing I've heard in a Rangers post game all season. And I don't know if it's the way he meant it or not, but it's the way I interpreted it. Was Adam Fox made a comment after the Anaheim loss, said good teams don't lose those games. And I
oh,
100% agree. I mean, every once in a while, you get, a team comes back. And look, I watch a lot of hockey. Very rarely when a team comes back in the third do they not win it in overtime. It does happen. It feels a little lackluster, but usually they go run and gun, and that's exactly what happened. The Rangers, I don't even think, touched the puck in OT. And if you you go back and watch that OT, it lasted less than 1 minute. Rangers didn't touch the puck, and the Rangers got danced down in front of Igor. Even Igor came out and joined the fracas. It was a mess. That whole game was a mess. I was watching it with my wife, and she's not really into hockey that much. We watch here and there, or I watch and kind of bark and complain to her. And and
whoever's nearby, whoever's around you at the moment.
and when Anaheim, I'm sure you do it to Megan too. When
Yeah.
Anaheim scored, tied it up, I said that's it. And I don't root against the Rangers, but I wanted the Rangers to lose that game just to be embarrassed, just to be walked out of the rink. And that's exactly what happened. That was a brutal game, made less brutal by the fact that I've really kind of, my feelings were hurt weeks ago, months ago. At this point I'm kind of numb. But a couple notes I had, minus Miller was a -2 on the game. He's just been atrocious. The pairing with him and Borgen, the milk's gone bad, as they say. That's expired, not working out, and that was just brutal. Brutal way to lose a game, and just another shitty loss on top of a long list of them this season.
Well said.
And then you move ahead to the 6-1 win versus the Sharks. The Sharks, boy, are they bad, and boy, are they checked out. And I say that I used to root for the Sharks. Well, I still like the Sharks, but back when, the heyday of Patrick Marleau and Joe Thornton, uh, uh, Brent Burns, those were the good old days. They have long come and gone. Have to say that was the least satisfying 6-1 victory I've probably ever watched. Pucks would go in, and I was just like, who cares? The stars came out. Fox had a couple goals, Panarin had a couple goals, I believe. I'd be mistaken. I'm so checked out. You'd have to check the stats. Go watch the game notes. I'm not a stat line here, but just you know, all I was hoping for in that game was quickly get the shutout, and that didn't happen. So, and the most exciting thing really happened after the game. Do you hear about the Rangers bus backing
Oh
into
yeah.
Macklin Celebrini's Range Rover?
Well,
So you get pumped 6-1, and someone backs into your Range Rover, and you're
my car.
driving a rental home. So and the team bus backing into that kid's car really is it speaks to our whole season. That does not happen on a normal season.
The bus driver got out, left an insurance card.
He probably tried to hit
Just
and
took
run.
off, left the insurance card and took off.
Saw a big red, white, and blue bus with Rangers logo flying down. But what I don't have really anything else to say about those games. The Rangers have lost several games in crunch time. They're not really showing themselves and the fans that they want to make the playoffs, or that they deserve it, or that they'll go far if they do. So wish we had more positives for you, but we don't. Not trying to be doom and gloom, but it's been a long season, and it's unfortunate that Sam Rosen's wrapping it up soon, and it's gonna probably go down on a sour note. But that's where we're at.
Yep, well said. I got nothing else on those 3 games. It is what it is. So, what do we have as far as the next 3 games?
So coming up, the next 3 games, the Rangers right now are smack in the middle of a 3-day break. They come back from the break Wednesday night, a home matchup against Mats Zuccarello and the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild are sort of fighting, same kind of situation we are. Two teams that are trying to scratch and claw their way into the playoffs. Thoughts on that game? It's always good seeing Zuki.
I don't think we'll take. I don't think we'll win it. I don't. The Rangers have yet to prove that they want to be in the playoffs, and
Stefan is besides himself.
yeah, I don't. I just whatever. Let's go, Matt Zuccarello. I hope he has a good game.
So then after that, on Saturday, matinee, 12:30 puck drop at the Rock against the hated New Jersey Devils, who have been very up and down, more down than up, but have held on to that third place spot in the Metro. Will probably end up finishing there and playing the Hurricanes. That's been kind of set.
That
The Devils always play us hard. They always like to embarrass us. So hopefully the Rangers play with some guts.
Now that is a game I will be somewhat invested in. We have a chance to tie the series with them. They won the first two. We've won the last game we played them, so it's 2-1 in the series. This is the fourth game to finish it out. It'd be nice to kind of embarrass the Devils a little bit. Not gonna lie to you. Shout out to Ace on he has his own show, Running with the Devils. I like hopping on there from time to time. Just seeing what they're up to, seeing what their thoughts are. I'll probably hop on again. He has his friend who's a Rangers fan who comes on his show, so I'll be excited to see if he has him on again. Um, but yeah, that is a game that I would really like the Rangers to show up for. It would be very nice to kind of gut punch the New Jersey Devils. Uh, I'm not going to make a prediction because you never know. The Devils have been hot, very hot and cold as well. They're pretty terrible since Christmas. Uh, have they been as terrible as the Rangers have? I don't think so. I think the Rangers have just been god awful. But yeah, let's hope they can take care of business that one day. And other than that, I don't really care too much.
Yeah, wherever the season's going, whether the Rangers are cup contenders or basement cellar dwellers, you want to beat the Devils. It reminds me of Shorzy. You never want to lose to the Yanks. You want to beat those guys. We hate them. You want to beat those guys. And then Monday, as we're recording next week, we might even live stream. We'll figure that out. But they're gonna be playing against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay always plays us tough. We got to play them again after this too. Further down the line, these 3 games and 5 more. So the Rangers have 8 games total left. A lot of the teams that if you don't know already, a lot of the teams that the Rangers are fighting with for playoff spot have 2 games in hand or 1 game in hand. You'd have to look to see. I think it's the Blue Jackets and maybe the Islanders. A couple of them have 2 games in hand. So teams are right on their heels. As of the win the other night, the Rangers were in that last wild card spot. But then again, they don't play for 3 nights. So a lot can change. 8 games remaining. We'll see what happens. I'm in a rare place because I've seen a good Rangers team. I've seen bad Rangers teams. I don't know that I've ever just wanted the season to end quite like I do. And it's just because this core has really kind of gone bad, and we've talked about that. We don't have to go into it, but I've never found myself in this exact place where I really just want the season to end and see what comes of the off season and really how serious Drury is about changing this team.
Yeah, Tampa's gonna mop the floor with us. They've just been such a strong team, and then they added some pieces in the deadline, and only got better. I don't see us even coming close. That'll probably be a mollywhopping.
Yeah, well, and they're still fighting for they're in the playoffs obviously, but they're still fighting for positioning. So they still have things to play for. So do the Devils. So does Minnesota. So these next 3 games are not easy. And out of the 8, Minnesota's the only game against a Western team, and I think the other 5 or so of them are against Metro rivals. So big time points up for grabs if the Rangers are up for it. And this kind of transitions nicely. News broke earlier today. I had a note to kind of go over Gabe Perrault, but the news broke, and now the note has kind of changed to, and I don't have a note, but news broke with Gabe Perrault. Details are still kind of coming out as of us recording this, but basically, Gabe Perrault, for those of you who don't know or don't watch, haven't been following, he is the Rangers' most coveted, hottest prospect, and his season just resumed in Boston College, and they're
Concluded.
concluded. And there was a lot of talk about whether he would come to the big club or maybe spend some time in the AHL or what he would do after college. Well, the Rangers have signed him to his 3-year entry level contract. You can shake your head, and I shook my head too, but the more you look into it, Gabe Perrault had leverage. On one hand, you think the Rangers are dumb for it because you don't want to burn up 1 year of that ELC, that entry level contract, on 8 games, potentially, maybe more if the guys make it. But at the same time, he has leverage. He and his representation have leverage, and they probably said, "Look, that's what we're gonna do, or we're gonna toil away this summer and keep working." So I think it takes two to tango. Obviously, you'd want the Rangers to get all 3 of those years on the entry level, but it's not gonna happen. And we'll see. Are you excited about Gabe Perrault?
No, I'm not excited about Gabe Perrault. I would be excited about Gabe Perrault if this team wasn't going to bury him on the third or fourth line and then scratch him on a nightly basis like they do every other promising prospect that they have acquired. But I mean, it's just such a New York Rangers way of doing things to have this guy who's lighting it up in every league he's been in, like one of the top point producers of his age, and just man, I'm not. If Laviolette gives him less than like 10, 12 minutes a game, I want to see his head on a stake, straight up. Like I don't think Laviolette is the right coach to have coaching this team when you're going to bring up a player like Gabe Perrault. I mean, yeah,
If
I don't
if
know.
you ask me, and I came on this pod early in the season and early in the pod's existence and beat the drum for Laviolette. I thought he had a great first season. That guy's completely lost me. He's a zombie. He has no pulse, and it's not all his fault. I still maintain that it's not all his fault, but he hasn't done anything. He's not pushing the right buttons. I mean, I could look back at so many points in this season and say, "Well, I should have done it. Should have done it then." I really think after that Ducks loss, they should have left him in Anaheim. But you know, I think it's going to happen. It's like Black Monday in the NFL. That first Monday after the season resumes, coaches go left and right. I think it's going to be like that for the NHL, and Laviolette will definitely be one of those people. And it's remotely unfortunate. He's had a good career, and I don't put this all on him, but he has no way pushed the right buttons. Roster management has been terrible, and you have an issue where he's coaching for his job, and Drury is making moves for next season, and they're not seeing eye to eye either. So you know don't want to dwell on Lavs too much, but yeah, I would say he's got to be a goner on this offseason. Got to.
Yeah, for sure, I agree. And before we start to wrap this up, I want to talk about John Tortorella a little bit and him being fired from the Philadelphia Flyers. I kind of just want to see what your feelings would be on like a John Tortorella reunion. Would you like that?
I don't know. I'm not completely against it, but I think anything you ask me about this team, my answer is going to be it depends on what happens this offseason. If Drew's not serious about moving Kreider and really going to do his best to do something with Mika, I don't think you bring in a guy like Tortorella. So I don't know. And while I'm trying to answer your question, but I'm also trying to pull up a poll because I did post this on the on our Instagram. And you go ahead and weigh in, and I'll give you more here in a second.
I would absolutely love a John Tortorella reunion, and I will tell you why. John Tortorella is a hard nosed, old school type coach who has absolutely no problem with throwing a season away to make sure that the players responsible are being held accountable. Like, this season would not suck so bad if the players who have been terrible were being held accountable for playing terribly. Like, you don't see Miller getting scratched. You didn't see Mika getting scratched. John Tortorella has no problem scratching the best player on the team for 2 or 3 games to try to send a message to the rest of the team that if you're not going to play, if you're not going to give it your all, you're not going to play. Losing games would be much more manageable for me if I knew that the players were being held accountable. But because they're not being held accountable and they're actually getting rewarded for playing terribly. Like, oh, you've been terrible. Let me throw you on power play 1 and let me increase your ice time and like let me just scratch this player who's been Brett Berard, who's been very good for us in the games he's played for us. I'm going to scratch him, but you're going to get more ice time. And not only that, but I'm going to keep you on the power play when it's been 1 for 30 in the last 30. Like, John Tortorella would not stand for that. He would absolutely send a message to the team. He'd probably go against management. Like, Chris Drury would probably have something to say, but John Tortorella would probably be like, if you think you could do better, then do what you can do. Like, I don't see him being the lay down and take crap type of coach. And that's something that this team, I think, could benefit from. And it may not be instant. It may not be we're going to start winning instantly. But golly, it would feel good to see these players just being benched and scratched and held accountable. And I don't know. That's my piece. That's why I would love it so much.
And that's totally fair. You wouldn't get the complacency. You wouldn't get the um just zombie 1,000-yard stare out of Laviolette. In the last couple weeks, about all he's done is crossed his arm and chewed gum on the bench. So I'm with you there. I don't know if I'm fully on the Tortorella train, but I'm with you.
That's
So
fair.
so we did a poll right when that news broke on our Instagram, and I appreciate you guys reaching out and voting on this. And it was 80% yes. So 8 votes for yes, 2 votes for no. And I did not vote on this. I wanted to kind of see where the fan base was and how people were feeling. I think after this kind of vanilla, stubborn coaching from Laviolette, I think people just want something different, and I don't blame them for that. So I'm not fully on it, but I am not against it. And if it happens, I don't know if you paid any attention to the song I posted, but the OJ's family reunion. Just thought that was a nice touch. It would be a family reunion. It's been a while. That's really when I started watching the Rangers again as a young adult, was the Tortorella days. So it pulls on my heartstrings a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. But that's all I have. Do you have anything else to go over on this team? We touched on Gabe Perrault a little bit. We'll have to see what happens with him. I'm excited, but I'm more excited about the future. Not so excited about these next 8.
I'd be excited if I knew that he was guaranteed time to build chemistry with a few players in the lineup. Like, I think him being out there with like Berard and Hoffman might be a pretty dangerous line. Like, it'd be like the kid line almost. Like,
At this point, there's 8 games left. I know you guys are fighting. The Rangers are fighting for the playoffs, but even so, let the kids play, see what they got. The future is now. And you really have to see what's going on with these kids, and they shouldn't be doing 4th line, 3rd line, playing with Brodzinski. They should be getting top line time and really focus on the future. And if you make it in, great, but if you don't, more time to rest. In their case, more time for golf, and you look forward to the future.
yeah. So a couple last things I want to touch on as well, just some like player updates. Albe Cabell has been in the lineup. He's been pretty invisible to me. Uh,
Who?
yeah, Albe Cabell. Anyway, I haven't. He's been pretty bad for us. A couple of the defensemen, Carson, uh, Stussy. I seen on Blue Shirts Underground they were calling him Carson Slozy, but I've been calling him Carson Snoozy. So I think,
Yeah, and that's a good point. Before we get out of here, the defense has been atrocious this season, and we're talking about the future. Oh, the future, the future. 5 of 6 of these guys are locked up for next year, And you wonder how serious this organization is about changing the defense when they're locking guys up. There was no reason to just rush right away and sign some of these guys to the deals they did. Not saying I'm totally against the Borgen deal, but it felt very rushed. It's feeling kind of rushed now that he's, been K. Andre Millard. And speaking of Miller, man, there's no way you can do anything more than bridge that guy for a couple years and see what happens. And if he improves, great. But that's it. There's no chance you can be serious and give that guy a long-term deal. Not a chance.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. And the last player update, Matt Rempe, he got a UBI the infamous upper body injury. It is upper body injury, right?
There's two injuries in hockey. It is either the upper body or lower body injury.
At least for the New York Rangers, you either from the waist up or from the waist down, you're injured on one
So
of the two.
we're hearing that he's hurt waist up.
Yeah, so I've also seen some tweets about or some whatever. I've seen some tweets about how he was back out skating with the team again. We're hoping he has a speedy recovery. He has become a very effective fourth liner for us.
Yeah.
We're hoping to see him back out there sooner than later. But other than that, I don't really have any player updates. And yeah, you got anything else?
No, not for this week. We'll be back at it next week, recording again on Monday night. They will be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning. So we'll see how things go. By the time we get together, the game will be happening. And maybe we'll do a little live something or another, or at least keep an eye on it while we're talking. So that's it for this week. That's all I have.
Cool. Forever hold your peace.
Till next time.
All right. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.